What's up, guys? It's Coach Shay back again with another installment of this epic basketball series that you've all been waiting for. I know, I know. Today, we're just going to get into some real quick stuff about cuts and screens. And before we do that, we're just going to do some basketball positions or court positions that aren't really so obvious, or some people may know, some don't. So let's get into that right now. The first of which is the low post, aka the block. Okay, and usually there's like a little piece of block square that's hanging out on the side of the court, and that represents the block itself. We have this line here now. Hopefully, everybody knows what this one is. But did you the free throw line? In case you didn't. But did you know that this line, imaginary, that I'm drawing across here, is called the free throw line extended? Okay, so sometimes coaches will tell you, propose the free throw line extended. That's the line they're talking about. Then we get to this area down here. Okay, so we have the corner over here, but between the corner and the paint, you have the short corner, and that would be in this area here, highlighted by the mouse. Okay. We also have the top of the key. Now, some people refer to it usually below the 3-point line. That's technically not right. It's between the 3 and the key itself, and that's the top of the key itself. So the last position, or the last two really, is called the slot, and that is based between the wing and the top of the key area. Okay, so you have two on each side. You have the left slot, which is about here, the right slot, which is also about here. Okay, so that's something to be aware of as well. Okay, point of notice as well, point of order, when the ball is on one side of the court, that side is the strong side. So in this case, the left side is the strong side, and the side it's not on becomes the weak side. So the right hand is the weak side. Okay, so let's get into now some more cuts that we're looking for. My face has disappeared. That is a tragedy. Okay, I'll just carry on as it is. So the first one is a backdoor cut. And this, as you can see, happens when a player goes around or behind the defender, who's usually quite aggressive, and it's a really good opportunity to get a basket. Hey, I'm back again. Okay, a little bit big, but no problem. Next is the V cut. So this is not a cut to get all the way to the basket, but usually one to get open. So you move in a V shape in order to get away from your defender. L cut is very similar and is also for the same purpose. So you're not cutting all the way to the basket, you're actually coming out and moving in an L shape to get open. We have the curl cut, which happens around the screen and is a really good opportunity when you're being played by a tight, aggressive defender. And as long as they stay on you and they follow you around that screen, then you have the advantage being in front of them by using the curl cut. But if that defender decides to cheat on that screen, you can then, instead of curling around to the basket, extend out to, away from the basket to the perimeter and go for a wide open jump shot. That is called a flare cut. All right. We have a deep cut, opposite of a shallow cut. Involves going around the defense, usually the deepest on the floor. So in this case, behind the basket, trying to get around. Really good against zones as well, actually, a deep cut. The UCLA cut, which starts with the player faking towards the middle and then making their cut on the strong side, with usually an easy entry pass from the strong side wing right to that individual who made the cut. A front cut, opposite from a back cut, cutting in front of your defender. Shallow cut, opposite of a deep cut, not going all the way into the lane, but filling a space on the outside. And finally, a flash cut, which happens by a post player leaving the low post, getting to the high post with the elbow. Okay, so those are a bunch of cuts. We now have a few screens. Okay, so the first is a stagger screen. And this happens when you have two screens that aren't actually directly in line with each other. Okay, so they're slightly staggered. And if you look in the diagram at the top right, you can see there's one staggered to the inside or staggered to the outside. We have a ram screen, which is really just a case where the screener So you have a screen for an off ball and a screen on ball. All right. So in this case, we have 5 setting the screen off ball for 2, and then 2 sets the screen on ball for the 1. Okay. So that's the ram screen. We have an elevator screen, which involves 2 screeners off the ball for a single player. In this case, you have 2 coming up the middle using the elevator screen, hopefully for a wide open jump shot. We have a drag screen, which occurs when you have a trailing center that sets the screen when they get up into the flow of the play, let's say. And usually works really, really well because if the 5's trailing, they also have their own trailing defender, and the defense isn't set, and it causes a lot of confusion with that one. So this one's a drag screen. We have a cross screen, which usually happens across the lane, where one player sets a screen for their teammate to report to the other side of the post, the lane. And now if we get into some cuts as well, we have a banana cut. This is to stay out of the way of the action, I guess. Happens around the outside of the 3. As you can see, it's in like a banana shape, sort of. So they have a banana cut. We have the Iverson cut, made famous by Allen Iverson of the Philadelphia 76ers. Really, really talented isolation player. And in order to get him the ball in a favorable position, they perform an Iverson cut with 2 screens set by the 5 and the 4. And that would isolate him on the wing, and he'd be able to work some magic from there. We have a Laker cut, which involves taking the ball from the wing, giving it into the low post, and then making a cut around that low post player. It's a really good action comes from that too. We have our zipper cuts, which starts with a player in the weak side corner, taking a screen from the low post, and then report all the way up to the top of the key. And finally, we have the flex cut. This one isn't drawn accurately, but the idea of the flex cut is simply a cross screen followed by a down screen. Okay, so a cross screen in this case, the 5 is setting a cross screen for the 2. And as I said, it's not accurately drawn because the 1 is then setting a down screen for the 5. So 5 sets a cross screen for the 2 goes through, and then the 1 is setting a down screen for the 5, which then allows that to be open. Okay, so that was a really quick video just to highlight some of these screens and cuts and core positions, just so that everyone's on the same page. Or if you see this in some other basketball videos or in any other videos you look at, you understand what they're talking about and what's going on. Okay, so guys, stay safe, stay hungry, stay humble, and see you soon.